Okay, guys, so yesterday we had a look how can we create a server using only Node. And yeah, so today we're going to do here, we create a little bit different route here. And the idea here in the client side, we will send, or from as a server, we're going to send a form to the client, as the client can type his name, for example, or message or something. And after that, I can receive it on the backend and write it to a file. So that's what I'm going to do here. So let me go to my VS Code here. I'm going to delete everything here so we can start from zero here. And what we're going to do now, we're trying to build our server from zero again. So can anyone remind me what should I do when I create a server? Yes.
Import create server.
Yeah, but our first create server is coming from HTTP, right? That means is it built-in module or I need to install it?
It's a built-in module.
So what's the name of the module?
HTTP.
So I need to import create. Come on, why is not typing? Import create server. That's named import. So I need to add curly brace. How could I know that? Well, I know that again because I built that before, and that is in the documentation. So I need to here create. Yeah, it's called create server. So create server like that from HTTP. Okay, I've imported my create server from HTTP, and I told you yesterday I'm planning to put my port number here in .env, and for that I have a package which is called .env. I've already installed .env, as you can see. So what do I need to do now? What should I do?
Choose the port.
Yeah, before choosing the port, I need to import what? I'm planning to use this library.
Import .env.
So I need to import .env or .env from .env. Now here I need to load the environment variable. Load environment variable, that means I need to be able to access this variable. And currently I only have one variable, which is called port. So what I can do here, I can just add a comment, load environment variable. And in order to load environment variable, this .env is an object. It has one method called config. So I need to execute this config. So I need just to say .env.config. That's it. If I do so, now I will have the ability to access all the variable inside .env or .env. So now here, let's define the port here. So let's define the port. And how can I do that? Well, I create a variable. So const port with capital all cap like that, port. And that's convention, of course, not lowercase. I want all of them uppercase, port like that. It's equal to process. And that's, so process is just, it's building a node process.env because I want to access .env. And inside .env currently, how many variable do I have? How many variable do I have?
One,
which is port. So I can just say port like that. And in case there is no port, I will take another, I will just put another port here. And I think it's 4005. So I'll put here 4003, for example, just in case that's my node here. My server was not able to access this .env for some reason. So I will give alternative port here. Okay, that's fine. Now I created my port. I defined my port here. Now I need somehow to use this method here from HTTP, which is very simple, actually. All I have to do, just say create server. And create server, to take what as a parameter? What does it take as a parameter, create server?
Request and res.
Yes, but what it is?
A function.
Exactly.
So it's object.
No, it's a function. So it take a function as a parameter. I have two parameter, I have two arguments by default, request and response. And I'm using arrow function, as you can see, voila. And now that should be done here. I'm not gonna do anything. Now, this method create server, it will return me an object. That's what we call the server here. So when I use this method create server, it will return me the server. So I need to save it in a variable, and I can name it server like that. It's equal to create server. Now, I need my server to listen in case any client want to connect to this server. And in order to do so, this server has a method on it which is called listen. So here I can just add a comment again, and I can just say create the server. And here I will just say listen, start the server, or listen on the port. So in order to do so, I can just say server dot listen, as you can see, and listen take two parameters. The first parameter, it will be my port, which I already defined here, as you can see. So I can take my port, put it here. As a second parameter, it's optional function here. And in this function, I can log anything. That means when the server is running, it will log this one to the console. And like that, I will know that my server is up and running. So server is listening on port. I can add just here colon, and it will give me the name of the port here, depending on the port. You might tell me why I'm logging the port, because I know the port is port 5004. Well, not always, because here, as you can see, if 5000, actually, I need to make this one also 5000. It doesn't matter. So if my server was not able to access 5004, it will replace it with 5003. So here, yeah.
Samir, I'm having a doubt. Like here, we are already given port 5004 in ENV, right? Then what does this line 8 means? Why we are giving the port 5003 here?
Yeah, but I told you here, process.inf.port here, it will try to go to .inf and access the port. But what if there is no port there? If there is no port, this one, it will be falsy. If it's falsy, it will go and take this port here.
Okay.
So in case my server was not able to access this port inside .inf, it will use the other port, the other option 5003. Okay? Should be clear. We just did it yesterday. Now in my package.json, as you can see, I have some script, and of course, all the time you add script to your package.json. I have start. I am using Node. The problem with Node, if I use Node with my server, every time I make some changes, I need to shut down the server and run it again. And that's annoying. I don't want that. So in order to solve the problem, I can use dev here, npm run dev. And here I'm using NodeMoon and install it globally. NodeMoon server, that means whenever I make change to my server, it will automatically restart the server, and that's good for me. For Mac, you already know kill. I will teach you kill. If you remember, if you are using the port more than one and try to run it, sometimes it gives you an error. It will tell you port is already used. If the port is already used, you can use this command. So kill -9 $, parentheses LSOV -T -I, and here I'm passing the port, which is 5004. If it's telling me we're already listening on port 4004, and if I run this command, it will kill the process, and like that, the port, it will be free again, and I can run my code. But don't worry, when I face any problem, I show you this one. Okay, now let's run my server. How can I run my server? I need to use a script. How can I run my server? npm run. But start, it will use Node. I don't want to use Node. See, start is using Node. I don't want to use Node. I want to use NodeMoon.
npm run dev. Yeah.
npm run dev. Well, that's it. And as you can see, listening on port 5004, which is good. Okay, that's fine. For now, that's fine. There's not a problem. But what I want to do here, I want to make this server a little bit complex. How can I make this server a little bit complex? Well, what I can do, I can just take this. So this guy here is a function, right? This guy here is a function. I can put, so this create server, I take a function as a parameter. Can I take this function and put it in another file? Is it possible to do so or not?
Yes,
this is just a normal function. Yeah. So this one is just a normal function I need to pass. So in order to make it a little bit interesting, I can just take this function, put it in another file. And you may tell me why you are doing that, because now when I add some logic to this function, it will become big. And I don't want to put it inside this file server. So I want to create its own file. So let's create a new file. And here we will name it routes. Does anyone know what routes mean? Does anyone know what routes mean?
Is it same kind like React we use router, that kind?
So
Connecting between two modules.
So if I say, for example, localhost 5004, the route here, it will just be slash. But if I say slash, for example, product or slash message, that's another route. So that's what we call route. So the route here, it will be a different route here. Just if you remember in React, it was the same idea. If I go to slash, I'm going to do something, or slash something else. So it will show me different page. So that's what we call route. Now, if we have nothing, we just have this one, we call this one slash or the main route. But sometimes we could have different route. As you know, in programming, we can go slash user, we can go slash product, and stuff like that. So that's what we call routes. Is the idea clear? Do you know what route mean now? Good.
Yes.
So now what I'm going to do here, as you can see, I don't have a function here. So let me go to these routes here and let me create this function. So I can create, if I want to, an arrow function. So I can just say const. Maybe I can name it request handler. Request, because it handles a request, right? So I can name it request handler, and request handler here, it will be a function. What's this function it will receive by default? What parameters this function will receive? If you remember here, I told you this function receives rec and rest, so request and response. So that means this function here, it also will accept two parameter, request and response. Voila. And now all I need to do here, I need to export my function. So export default request handler. And now I'm going to go to my main server here, and I need to import this function, of course, right? So I can just say import request handler, right? It is named request handler from request dot, just like that, those requests like that. And I think I can add .js. Actually, I need to add .js because I'm using ES6. So as you can see, I just created my function. So normally this guy here take a function. All I did here, I took this function and I put it in another file, voila. And still my port is working here. As you can see, everything is fine. Again, create server, it take a function as a parameter. I just put this function in another file and I name it route. So that's request handler. Of course, this function I told you by default, it receives two parameters, request and response. And now I have request and response here. I'm exporting my function here. I am going inside my server and I'm passing it to create server. I didn't do anything. It's just I separate the function. Is there any problem here so far? Hello?
No.
Everyone?
No problem.
Good. Now let's go here to request and response. And now what I want to do here, so now my idea, what is my idea? My idea, if the user in the main route or the root route, so if he's on like that, I want to send a user a form so he can type a message or something. And then if he click enter or send, then I want to receive this data in my server and then save them to a file. That's my idea. But that's okay, that's fine. Let me just cut this one, kill this one for now. I'm gonna use it. Let's go here to my VS Code. Okay, so what should I do? First now, let me log the request and the response. So here I will just log. Let's do one by one, console.log request. I will just log the request first. And in order, because as you can see, if I go now to this guy, if I go now to localhost, if I go to localhost 5004, see my browser here is running this way. It's running, as you can see here. Can anyone tell me why this one is happening? Can anyone tell me why this one is happening? Why I'm not receiving anything here in my client?
There is no response.
Because I'm not sending, there's no response. I'm not sending anything to the user. And that's the reason why it's just, as you can see, it's trying to get a response, but my server does not get any response. So in order to get rid of this one, what I can do here, I can just say, for example, I can set header, for example, and set header here. So I need to set header, set header like that. Response.set header. And in order to set header, I can just define the type of data. So content.type, I want it to be an HTML. So I will just say, for example, text/HTML. Okay, now I'm gonna write something, anything to my response for now. Res.write. I can just say, for example, hello world, or just let me just put H1. H1. And I can say hello, just hello message. I'm gonna send only hello for now. Hello, like that. And at the end, what do I need to do with my response? What do I need to do with my response? Yes, I need to end this. So res.end. And that should be okay. So now here, if I go to this port here, I will not have any problem. So if I go now and try to click on this guy, see, I don't have any problem anymore. It's not like kind of trying to get the data. I just have hello. That's fine. But my objective here, I'm trying to log the request. So let's go to see the request. Now, if we have a look at the console here, as you can see on our terminal, we see that the response actually, it's an object with a lot of property, as you can see. Wow, it's a lot of property, as you can see. So it's huge object, actually. It's very huge object with a lot of properties. But yeah, that's fine. So I know now what is the request, which is nice. I want to see what is the response as well. So let's click on this one. I want to log the response as well. So if I save it and I go down, let me go down. Of course, now it will not log the response. I need to send a request from the client. Then I can see the response. So if I click on it and I go, and now, as you can see, now I have another log. Response also, as you can see, actually that's request, that's not response. So as you can see, I have something called URL. I have method. So it will tell me what is the URL, what is the method. So in conclusion here, what I want you to know is that the request and the response, both of them are object, and especially the request, it has a lot of property. That's fine with me. That's okay. Let's cancel this one. Let's run my server again. So it will be clean. And let's go here. Now, what do I want to do? As I told you, I want to send the user a form, just a form, one input, so he can write a message. And then after that, whatever the user type, I want to save it as in a file here. But in order to save anything to a file in Node, we studied it before yesterday. We studied, I think, on Tuesday. Which built-in module I need to use to write to a file?
File system.
File system. So I need to
File
import the
system
file.
FS.
Yeah. So I need to say import fs from fs. So I need to import the file system. And also, what do I need to import? If you remember,
the path.
I need to import the path as a dir name. So I need to import path and also dir name from path. Now the dir name here, it's named import. So this one is named import, okay? So we import this one from the path, and also we import the whole. So we import the whole object or the whole module, and here we importing specifically the dir name because I will need to know. I will need the dir name to construct the path. After that, I need something else. Can anyone remind me from URL? What do I need? What do I need from you?
Path?
No, it's file URL to pass. File.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so I need to import. Also, it's named import. So it's file URL to pass from URL. After I did that, now I need to construct the file name here, or the file name or the path to the file. Can anyone remind me? So here I can just add small comment here. I can name it construct path. Construct path here, it's not correct. So let me correct it. Construct path. So I can just say const underscore. I told you that's convention. File name, what is it equal to? I can use this guy here, this function file to URL, and I can pass here import meta URL. Now here, this guy, it will give me the full path to the current file. But I don't want the full path to the current file. Well, really, I want the path to the directory. And what is the name of my directory?
Project 01.
Project 01. So in order to do so, I can just say conf pass all cap by convention. It will be equal to dir name. That's this function here, dir name, and I'm passing underscore file name. So it will give me the full path to the current directory. Is the idea clear? It's just like we studied before, nothing new, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so now what should I do? Well, what I can do here, first, instead of logging the response, instead of logging the request, I can do something else. I told you request. What type of data is request? What type of data is request?
It's an object, no?
An object.
It is an object. So here inside this object, I can access something. If I say dot, well, as you can see, I have a lot of stuff here. What do I want from here? Well, first I need the URL, and also I want something called method. What method do I am using? So if I save this one now, I'm just trying to log the URL and the method. Now, if I go here, the URL, of course, it's slash because that's the root route. I'm not using anything. I'm not using slash message or something. And what do you think the method will be when I'm trying to send a request from my browser? What do you think the method will be? What's the method when I'm using my browser? What the method will be?
HTTP. No.
Yes, but what is the verb? Is it post? Is it delete? Is it get? Is it put? What's the method?
Get.
I'm sorry?
Get.
So your browser can only do one verb here, actually. It's only get. Now we will learn after that when I'm trying to put or post or do something with using Express, I need to use another tool which is called Postman. But for now, let's send our request here. Click. And now if I go here, notice. So what is the request URL? The URL is slash. What is the method? The method is get, which is good for me. That's what I want. So depending on the route and depending on the method, maybe I can do something. I can send to the user something. So let's try to do that. So what I'm going to do here, well, it's quite simple. Let's just delete all of that. And here, as we see, I can just say const URL. So I can use the structuring because I want the URL and we want the method from request. I told you this one is an object. Inside this object, I have a lot of method and property. What I want the URL, which we see now, and I want the method. Okay. Now what I can do here, I can just say if the URL is slash, that means it's the main route, I'm gonna do something. If it's not, I'm gonna do something else. Okay. Again, I am saying if the user try to send a request, and this request is get, for example, and the root route is slash, then what I want to do, well, I can now define some stuff. I can now set my header to make it text, HTML, and after that, I can send a form to the user. So how can I do that? Well, I can just say res.set header, right? So I just need to set the header. What the header will be? It will be content type text HTML. Hey, what I'm missing? Header like that. Voila. Again, if the URL is slash, that's me. If the user is here in hello, is here, not slash anything. So not slash message or slash user or slash like that, then I'm gonna send the user a form here. I want it to be only when he is in the root route here. That's the reason why I'm saying if URL is equal to slash, I want to set the header, and then now here what I can do, I can send to the user a form. So I can just say res.write, and here I can use backtick. What does backtick allow me to do?
You can type multiple lines.
Yes. And here I can write my HTML if I want to. Voila. So what do I want to do here? Well, I can just write an HTML tag, HTML, should be lowercase, and I can close this. No, sorry. HTML, voila. And now here I need, of course, head and body, as you know. Head. And I need body. And now, of course, in the head, I don't want to do anything. I want to do it in the body. Click. Now, in the body, what do I want to do here? I can now create a form. So actually, it's as you can see, it's giving me some suggestion here. So I can create a form. And of course, when I create a form here, I will need an input and I will need a button. So I want the user to type a message and then try to, voila. So I want to use the input type text as the name here, it will be message. So this property is important. So the name here, it's actually quite important. Why? Because when I receive the data here, depending on whatever I name this property, I can receive this. So this property here is important. Name is message. I will name it message. Bottom here, type it will be submit, and here I will see send. But here I need to add something else. Whenever the user try to submit this form, I want to move the user to another. So I don't want the user to stay here in the same route. I want to send him to another route. And in order to do so, I can use the action actually here. We never used the action before. So I can use action. That means if the user try to submit the form, what do I want to do? Well, I want to move the user to slash message. Voila. And now here it will change the route. It will move it from slash, the root route, to slash message when I submit the form. And of course, I can define also the method. What is the method here? It will be, what the method will be? I'm trying to post something to I'm trying to send something to the server. What the method will be?
Post.
Post. Voila. And here I need to close it. And of course, at the end, now what do I need to do? After I write my response, what do I need to do? What do I need to do?
End.
Yes, I need now. I'm not just going to end here. I'm going to return. Why I'm going to return? Because if I don't return, I'm using an if statement. Now I will have another if block. So if I don't use return, it will go to the other if block and it will cause me a problem. That's why I need to use return here. Why? Because I will have multiple if now. If it is slash, what do I want to do? Well, I want to send this form here, this HTML form. Let's try to test it and see if that will work or not. So let's click on here. Voila. So when I go to slash, see, I now have my form. And this form here, I'm sending to the user a form, as you can see. And my form here, when I add something to my form and I click send, it will move this one here to slash message. Why is it happening? Because I am defining that in my action. I'm saying if the user try to click the button, try to submit the form, I want you to, we never used the action before, but the action here it means I want you to change the route to slash message. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. And here, of course, I will receive some data. But that's what I'm doing now. Let's just try to test this one. If I try to write something here, click, and it's trying to go to slash message, but it will take some time, I suppose. Now, after some time, if I go back here, it will try to go to slash message. But of course, I'm still not handling this one, as you can see. I'm still not handling it. I need to handle it. So how can I handle it? Any idea? So if the URL is slash, I am just sending a form. We've seen that just now. I don't want it to take this time. Let's just go again. Click. If the URL is slash, I am just sending a form. Now, if the URL here, it will be slash message. I want somehow to get this message from the user and save it inside my inside the file I will create. Are you with me still, or you are sleeping, or you are confused, or what's the situation with you?
Yeah, we're here.
You understand what I'm trying to do so far?
Mostly.
Yeah.
You have any problem I can explain before we move to the second part?
No, just upload the video afterwards.
We will not do that in practical. When we study Express, we will not gonna do that. I'm like sleeping, huh? You can see that. We will not gonna do that in real life when you use Express, but I think it's a good idea. Just stop, boy. It's a good idea, so you know how we can handle that in Node, just in Node, vanilla Node. Again, we're not gonna do that in the real application. You know, in the real application, we don't have to define all of that. It will be much simpler than that, because really Express make everything simple. But I think in the beginning, at least today, I want you just to know a general idea how we can use Node. And then when you use the Express, you'll find how it is easy to do it with Express and how difficult to do it with Node, vanilla Node, as we are doing now. That's fine. So now I'm saying if the URL is slash, I'm telling, okay, I want to send HTML here, text HTML, and I'm writing some HTML. So it's simply a form with input, with some button, and when the user click on it, it will just change the route to slash message, simply like that. That's fine. But what if the URL is not slash? Now I have two possibilities. Either the URL, it will be slash, or it will be slash, or it will be slash
Message.
slash message. So what I can do here, I can go here and I can say if the URL is slash message and the method is, what will be the method? What will be the method? If it's slash message, what the method is?
Post.
Post.
Okay, and the method is equal to post, then I can do some stuff here. I can do some other stuff here. Let me delete this one. Okay. For now, I need to receive the data or the message the user tried to send me. But how can I do that? Well, it's not easy as you think, because I need to use some event in Node. And those events is just like, for example, if you remember in the DOM, I say, for example, button dot on click, I want you to do something, excuse this function. Node also has some event. Some events are on, for example, on data. That means I'm receiving the data. I'm trying to send some data from the client to the server. That's what you call on data. And then when on end here, that means when I finish, I receive all the data. But now what I want to do here, I want to do something simple again. I don't want to do that everything. I just want to set the header again like that. I'm just going to copy this one. And I'm going to paste it here. And of course, I'm going to change it. I don't want to send to the user's form. I can just say thank you. Thank you, just like that. And I will make it H1. For now, of course, I'm going to do that. Cut. Voila. And that should be okay. So as you can see, what I'm doing now, currently, I'm doing something very, very simple. I'm just trying to send this guy, this user, a message, tell him thank you. And I'm ending the response, so everything should be fine. So let's try to see if that will work here. Let's refresh, try to write something, click, and as well, as you can see now, it's taking me to slash message. Thank you for submitting the form. It should be simple. Again, I have my form, so if I go to slash, because that's how my logic work. If I go to slash, I will have a form. And if the user types something in the message here or in the input and click submit, what's going to do? Well, it's going to take the client to slash message. And if, as you can see, if the URL is slash message, it will come here. If the URL is slash message and the method is post, which it will be, that means the user click on the button. I want to just send the user a message, thank you for submitting the form. Well, that's it. Let's try to do it again. And let's type anything and say send and thank you for submitting. Is the idea clear so far? Yes,
Yes.
no? Good. Very good. But in reality, here, I don't really want to send to the user a message. I want to write whatever the user send me, the data the user send me, I want to write them to a file here on the server. Yeah. But before doing that, do you remember, do you think I'm missing something here? Can I add something to make it more clear? It's not like I have to do it, but it's a good idea to do it.
The
Okay.
status.
Yes, so what I can say, I can just say rest.status code. So what is status code? Status code here, it should be 200 successful. Oh no, status code, it's 200. Well, this should be simple. This one now should be simple as well, but actually I don't want to do that. What I really want now, I want somehow to grab the message the user is sending. So when the user or the client have this form, type something, I want to receive this message from the server. And when I receive it, I want somehow to write it to a file. So what I can do? Well, what I can do here is coming here. I'm going to delete this guy here. And let me remove this one here for now. So what I can do, first, I have one event on the request. So of course, I have access to request and response, as you know, because why I am inside this function. So I have access to request and response. Now, there is one method, as I told you. This method is on data. That means the client trying to send a data to the server. In order to do so, what I can do, I can just say request dot on. Now, if I say request dot on, and I do that like that, I will have a lot of, so there is a lot of event exist on the request. Just like if you remember, if I'm selecting a button in the front end, I have on click, on double click, on stuff like that. Also, here, the request has different event. And this event is, if I want to receive the data, this event is called data. Data like that. And the second, of course, the second parameter, just like on click, and I have second parameter, which will be a function, I will have a function like that, voila. Voila. Now, this function here receive one parameter. You can name the parameter whatever you want to, but I will name it chunk. And you may tell me what is chunk. I will tell you what the chunk is now. Const body. I will create an empty array for now. Voila. Then I will want to push the chunk inside my array. But I want someone to tell me what is a chunk. Can anyone tell me what is a chunk? Yes.
Piece of information.
Yeah. Okay, let me show you something. This is client. Oh, come on. So this is a client. And the client here, of course, it could be your laptop, your whatever you want to, your tablet, your phone. And of course, Command D, I have my server here. Now, when the client try to send data to the server, let me just put this one like that. So I'm trying to send data like that. The data here, it will not move in one, let's say, not all this data, it will be moved at once. So what Node is doing here for efficiency, what it's doing here, it will take that data. Yeah, I can draw this one. Let's say that's my data. It will going to cut or divide my data into smallest part like that. Small, 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 small. And of course, that's efficient because like that, I don't have to wait for the whole data to be transferred to the server. No, my data, when I send it from the client to the server, it will not be moved at once. So what in Node, what's happening here, what the client is sending, when I'm sending data to the server, it will cut the data to smaller part. Okay, small part of data, just like that, so just like cube like that. And that's what we call chunk. So a chunk is a small part of data, like that. That small part, that small part, that small part. And these parts are moved individually. So they are not all of them together. So chunk 1 will move, then chunk 2 will move, then chunk 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and so on and so on and so on. And that's the reason why I'm doing here. I'm saying when I'm receiving the data, or when I'm trying, the client try to send data to the server, I will receive a chunk, small part of data. That's the reason why I'm declaring an array here, and I want to gather all the chunk inside this array. Do you understand what I'm trying to explain or not?
Samir, can you give some real example? Like
Okay.
which kind of data?
Any data. For example, let's say I'm sending a string message. Let's say I'm sending a file, let's say HTML file or CSS file, or I'm just writing some message to the user, for example. Let's say now just a message I wrote now. This message I wrote here, this message here. So what's happening here, Node, in general, it will not, this data, of course, it has a size. So let's say it's 1 kilobyte or something like that. What it's going to do here, it will divide this data into smaller parts. And this smaller part, it will be moved one by one. And like that, of course, it will not move all of them in a single part. No, it will be divided into different parts. Like that, it will be easier for my server to receive the data. Did you get my idea, Daria?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
It's like you create a container, is an array, and you send the server this array, and you send pieces inside this array. It's working this way.
That's why I'm doing here. So I'm creating an empty array, and here the event is on data. That means when the client try to send a data to my server, I'm saying on data. That means whenever I have a data, I will receive some called chunk. Chunk is a small part of data. So whenever I'm receiving this small part of data, I want now to gather all this part together, because at the end I want all my message. I don't want part of the message here. I don't want part of this part of the message. No, I want the whole data. And that's the reason here I'm receiving chunk, and then I'm pushing all the chunk to this variable here. Is the idea clear?
Yeah.
Samir, is it just for the speed or also the security?
It's mostly to make it easy to transfer data from the client to the server. So it's not matter of security. No, it's more because for security, if you remember, we have HTTPS. So we have extra layer of security, which is encrypt them. But the idea here is more like to make the data. So I don't have, let's say I have a huge amount of data. I don't have to wait long time to receive all this data. And like that, I can receive the data part by part. And like that, it will be easier for my server. Instead of waiting 1 hour until all my data being transferred to the server, no, I will receive some data part by part on my server. Did you get the idea, Agnieszka?
Yeah, okay. So like sometimes we have a website and the text, it appears before and the images after. Is this one?
You can imagine this way, yeah.
Okay.
So here is moving part by part. It's okay. Again, I can just use request.on. On here, that means this one is an event. One of the event is data. You don't need to know all the event. For now, you just need to know the data and end, and also an error. So we have something called error. I'll show you as well. So now what I'm saying here, okay, whenever the request coming from the client, of course. So whenever the user try to send me some data, I will have a function. It's just like when I say button.add event listener, and the event is clicked, then I have a function, callback function. Same idea, that's my callback function. And in my callback function, I will receive chunk. Chunk is small part of the data. Now, I want to put all this part of the data inside one array, and that's what I'm doing. Okay.
Samir, is it the rule or it depends of the situation?
No, that's the total rule to transfer data to the server, like that.
Okay.
It's like rule. So the data, we cannot just move any data just like that. When we move the data, it will be a stream of, actually, it will convert the data to like numbers, stuff like that. So some number, and then it will be divided into smaller part, chunk of data. Because like that, let's imagine like I want to send a lot of a file with huge size to the server. If my data is being moving at once, that means I have to wait some time, 10 minutes to receive the data. But in this technique here, no. I mean, I will start receiving the data from whenever I'm trying to upload my file. It will send just piece of my data until everything is completed. Is it okay? Yep. Or no?
So Recon is like a listener. I take the data from the user, the client, and every time push in this array that is body.
Yes, yes. So that's part of the data I am receiving from the client, and I'm pushing it to this array to save all of them here. Okay? Now, of course, I will receive data from the client until I don't have any chunk anymore. That means all the data is being transferred to the server. But how could I know that all data is being transferred to the server? Can anyone tell me how? So, yes. Add event, event listener or event here. Add event. The event is data. Well, I have another event. I just told you what's the event here. I can add another event. What is the event? Request.on. Yes, request.on. End. So I have request.on. I have something called end. And end, that means it's finished. That means I receive all my data. And here it will receive a function with nothing. Voila. Do you know what I'm trying to do, guys, or no?
Yeah.
No?
You're stopping the action at the end of the data is.
Yes. So here, what I'm doing here, I'm listening to the client here. I'm listening to the request. I'm listening to the data. And of course, as I told you, the data, it will be divided into smaller chunk. And whenever I receive any chunk, I will push it to this array, push it here like that. But now I need to know when I receive all the data. How could I know that? Well, we have another event which is called on end. On end means I received all the data. And now here on end, inside this event, when happens this event, now I can go to my body here, the data I've doing it here. I can convert them to a string, and then I can now split the data and see what data did I receive. Did you get my idea or not?
Yeah, but it's a little bit abstract because without an
I know
example, it's a little bit difficult to understand. For example, where is the end? I understood that there is a moment that is the end, but I don't know why is the end. I'm saying, where is the last moment? The last data I received, he knows that it is the last data received.
So end mean when I received all the data. It's not your job to know when the data is being received totally and finished. It's here the event job. So this event end know when he received all the data and it's being completed. Okay. Now, okay, if that means I'm saying here, when I receive all the data, what do I want to do? Well, what I can do here, I can now go inside this guy and just add a simple try and catch block. Don't be scared. We're not going to use this stuff here. I'm just trying to explain it. That's Node, vanilla Node. And I know vanilla Node is a bit difficult. It's not easy. Okay, so now on end, that means I received all my data. What should I do here? Well, what I can do, I can just use try and catch block. And here I want to parse the body. What do I mean by parse the body? This is my body. This is an array. Now I'm going to log it. I'm going to show you what the body look like. So let's try to log the body here. Log the body here. Yeah, but it should be console.log. Console dot log body. I don't want you. I don't want you. Just give me a second. Voila. And here on end, everything is fine. I think I need to end my response here. So let's end my response here so I don't have any problem anyway. So let's try to end it. Res.end, just like that. So my browser, it will not be stuck. Okay, let's go here. And of course, if I do this guy here and I type something, if I click on send, what will happen? If I click on send, what will happen?
You sent a chunk.
I will send chunk of data. And this chunk of data, of course, as you can see, it will be saved inside this array, which is called body. And then when I receive all the data, I am just logging the body here. I want to log this array. And of course, here I will not receive anything. Actually, maybe I can write something here. So we can just say res.write. No, I just want to write something, but I need to define the header. So let me copy from this here. Let me go in here. And here, let's write just H1. H1 hello, or thank you, or whatever you want. So let's go here. Now let's refresh. So I have the latest data. Click on this one, send, and now I have hello, which is great. But now let's go to my terminal. What do I have here, guys? What is that? What do you see here? What I am logging?
Numbers. The body.
Body. So why my data is like that? Actually, I told you when the data is being transferred to the server, it will not be in one part. I told you it will be like chunk of data. That's chunk of data, as you can see. 6D, 6573, it's just like chunk of data numbers. So that's what you call buffer. So I need somehow to convert it from the buffer to a string, because of course now that's not my message here. So the way the client sends the data to the server, as you can see, it's been divided into some structure here. That's what you call buffer, some data. So some numbers and some stuff like that. Or each one of those we call a chunk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are chunks. Now, of course, as you can see, I'm receiving all the chunks, but the problem here, it makes no sense for me. I need somehow to convert this chunk here, this buffer, to a string, because my goal here to receive the string. How can I do that? Any idea?
Maybe UTF-8?
No, actually in Node, we have a module which is called buffer. So we have a module in Node called buffer. So what I can do here, I can just say const parse body. Parse mean I'm removing it from this structure to another. Parse body, const parse body, it's equal to, I can use buffer. So as you can see, I have this interface or this class, which is called buffer. If I say buffer.concat, can anyone tell me what concat is doing? What concat method is doing? So buffer is like an object. It's a class, actually. Then we have concat. Can anyone tell me what concat is doing? It's from concatenation.
Adding data
Chaining.
together.
It's is adding all these buffer together. All these number is adding all these number together. So concat, what do I want to concat? What do I want to concat? The body.
Body
I want
chunk.
to concatenate this array, which is called body. So it will concatenate all of them, and it will move them to a. Now here, I just need to move them to string. Voila, and that's it. And that's the solution. And now here, if I log, come on, why console.log is not working here? Console.log parse body. And now you will see something beautiful, actually, after we've done this one, because my data were just buffer. They were just chunks. So it was a bunch of chunks, but I use the buffer class. I concatenate everything inside my array. So it will concatenate everything. Then I just convert it to a string. And now if I parse the body, let's see if I will get my message or not. Let's refresh. Let's go to the slash or the main route, and here let's write my message and I say, for example, hello. Hello. Let's click send. Okay, let's go here. And why I am not logging the parse body? Am I missing anything? No. Const parse body buffer dot concat body dot to string should be working perfectly. Yeah, but why I don't have a log here? That's strange. Let me shut down my server and try to run it again, just in case. Let's try again. Go here. Let's write my message. Send. What I'm missing here? Buffer.concat body to string. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's put a breakpoint here and see what the hell is going on, because it's not doing this one. I need to stop this one. Let's try to debug my code. Click. A new version of Node Moon is available. Okay, fine. I don't care about that for now. Let me send my request, refresh. Okay, now it should be fine. Parse body. And as you can see, I have the parse body. Voila. So the parse body here, it's a message. Why is it message? Because simply in my form here, I name this one message. So I name this one message. So it's telling me, as you can see, in my parse body, I have the message equal to EWFEFGRW, whatever message I wrote. So actually, I'm getting my data. Everything is fine. As you can see, I am getting my data. But my data here, as you can see, it's a message. It's a string message equal to this one. Do I want the message or do I want after the equal? This thing after the equal.
After the equal, but we also need it in the terminal. Why we don't have it in the terminal?
Yes, I mean, we should have it in the terminal, actually. So let's try to go inside here. Click. I should have it now inside my terminal. If I, where's my terminal? Oh, yeah. Let me stop this one. We should have it inside the terminal. Let's run it again. There is a reason why I don't have it as a terminal, but it looks like I am missing something. Is console.log? That's the reason. Thank you. So I'm importing another module which is called console. That's why I don't have it in the terminal. Did you understand the point, Agnieszka? By
Yeah, I think
mistake?
so. Yeah, it was automatically. Yeah.
Yeah, by mistake, I am importing something which it's just overwriting the console I am trying to do, which is wrong. But anyway, let's go here. Let's refresh. Let's try to send it. And voila. Is it okay?
Yeah.
You can see it, huh? Be careful sometimes, because when you just do log, you have shortcut in your VS Code, it can import some other module, like just the console here, which I don't want, but yeah, it could happen. But anyway, now what I'm doing here. So I'm adding an event when I'm saying at the end, when I receive all the chunk of data, we've seen the chunk of data just like number, which are what we call buffer or string buffer. So in order to convert this buffer to a string, Node already give us a class which is called buffer. And this buffer has a method called concat. What concat is doing, it will just concatenate all the buffer for me. And of course, I want to concat everything inside the body. Then I'm converting it to a string. And that's my string, which I want. Now, but now what I want really, I don't want the message here. I want this guy here, whatever I'm writing. So how can I get this value? Can anyone tell me how can I get this value? So I don't want all of that. I just want the message. Conf message. How can I get the message? Yes. How can I get it? Can I split it?
From the array. No.
Yeah, I can split it, right? So I can just say message parse body dot split, and I'm splitting by equal, right? If I'm splitting by equal, I will have now an array with two parts. The first one, it will be the message, and the second one, it will be the other one, whatever I'm writing, and I'm taking the second one here. So I'm splitting by, so let's say it's like that message X this was. So what I'm doing here, I'm splitting by equals. That means that will be the index 0. So it will be an array, of course, when I'm splitting. So I have index 0, I have index 1. Of course, I want the index 1. I want this guy here. So I'm saying parse body dot split by equal, and I want, of course, whatever inside the index 1, which is my message here. I don't want this message here because it's just something I wrote here. I think it's clear if I'm not mistaken, right? Yes, no? And now let's log our message again. That's the console. Log my message. Let's go down. Let's go here. Refresh. And let's just say hello. And if I click on this one, I go here. While I'm receiving hello. That's my message. Everything is clear so far. Yep. Nope. We are done. That's the most complex part. The other part is simple. So that's the most difficult part here, which is I need to have two events. The first event, it will be data. And when I'm receiving the data, I will have chunks. So the data is being divided to smaller chunks. What we call them chunk. You can name this variable whatever you want to, but we call them chunk. And whenever I'm receiving this chunk, I want to push them inside an array. You don't have to name it body, by the way. I just name it body, but because it's whatever the message I'm getting it. So I'm gathering all the chunk inside this array, and then I need to use another event, which will be end. That means when I receive all the data. And when I receive all the data, I log the body, and I show you that the body is just buffer some numbers and stuff like that. I don't want that. So I need somehow to convert this buffer into a string. And in order to do so, Node gave me a class which is called buffer. I can concatenate everything inside this array, all this chunk, and then I can use this method here to convert it to string. The problem is when I do so, I will have message like that. So I will have a message, where's the name? I will have a message equal to whatever the user writes. I don't want that. Well, actually, let me keep this one here. I don't want all of that. So I want this guy only. In order to do so, I'm just creating a variable called message. Then I'm taking the body, I'm splitting it by equal. And now here it will give me an array with index 0, it will be this one, and index 1, it will be this one, but I want index 1. That's the reason why I say bracket 1. And now I receive my message. Well, and now all I have to do, I need to save it in a file inside the backend, which you already know. Is it quite clear, guys, or not?
Samir, and I have a question. If we wrote a message like blah, 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 equal blah, 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 equal blah, 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 so the method split doesn't work. So how can we do it? So our message will have, yeah, here, if you write equals, also like hell equal O. Yeah, like that. So
let's try.
Yeah.
It will not give me everything, I suppose. So let's see. So what's going on here, as you can see, it cannot understand equal.
Yeah.
So it's converting an equal to another encoding character, which is called just percent. But it just means space.
So okay, which method we should use?
It will be the same. It will be the same. But the idea here, normally, in my message, you should not use equal. Why are you going to use equal? So the message here, what you are trying to send here, it's just some message without equal, or maybe I can encode it actually. So we have a method. If I don't know if I taught you that in the front end, we have something. We have a method called URL encoded. So I can encode the message I am sending it here. I can encode it. So this character, it will be replaced by something else. And when I receive it on the server, I need to decode it again to receive it here. Okay, Agnieszka, that's that will be exception, but don't worry about now.
Okay,
You
okay.
want-
Let's not complicate it more. Okay.
Is it quite clear for now?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, we will never do that, Agnieszka. In real life, we never use Node, vanilla Node. We use Express, which is Express already come with a lot of setting. You don't need to do anything of that. So Express will automatically parse the body for you. It will do a lot of stuff for you. So in practical life, really, we don't do that. But I just want to show you how can we do it in Node. And after that, so you can compare it with Express and you see how Express make our life very easy. Yeah?
Okay.
Mhm. Is it quite clear so far?
Yes.
Okay, let's take short break until 10:30. Then I'll come back and I will finish what I was doing because still I did not save it in a file. So I need to somehow to write the message into a file. And after that, I need to send a response to the user and tell him, thank you so much for something like that. And in case also, I need to make sure that the message exists because maybe the user did not write anything and he just say send. And as you can see, if I go like that, the message does not have anything. So I need to handle this situation as well. If the user do so, I can send him a message, tell him you did not write anything, for example. If there is a message, then I can save it to the file system. Is that okay? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.